It's that time again. Save money now and buy these Nintendo Switch games before it's too late. I have years of experience buying games at the end of past console generations for cheap prices, and now some of them are worth hundreds, if not thousands. So I've spent hours going through the full Switch catalogue to let you know which games I feel will go up in value and the reasons why. Stick around until near the end of the video, as I've included a bonus item that isn't quite a game, but it's something you need to act on now and collect while the time is right. Okay, let's get to the games. Welcome back to another selection of Switch games to buy, and we're kicking off today's episode with the brand new indie darling on the scene. It's Animal Well. This is a Metroidvania. I'm actually playing through this one at the moment on PlayStation, and I was hoping that we would get a physical, and it has been announced there is going to be a physical version for this, but unfortunately it's going to require you to go to limited run games. So anyone outside of America, it's going to be slightly harder to get, but this one is available now. Animal Well has had a good bit of buzz about it at the moment. Some people are saying it's potentially even going to sneak in as an outside chance for their game of the year. I'm not too sure I would go quite that far. Some of the puzzles and stuff like that in it are slightly obtuse for me, but maybe I'm just really stupid. I'm not too sure, but Animal Well, it is a good game from what I've played so far. Obviously a really interesting and unique art style, as you can see, and if you were holding off for the physical, well, now's your chance. Check it out on limited run games and pick yourself up a copy. Next up, we have Dave the Diver, and there are a few different options for this one. Again, it's an indie game that's got a good bit of buzz around it, and it's actually recently done some really cool crossovers. I've seen that there is DLC for Godzilla. I haven't got around to playing that yet, but I definitely want to give it a try, and that DLC is for a limited time, so if you're interested in Dave the Diver, definitely see about picking that up. As for the physical copy, you can currently get this from Japan as an import. It's ready to go, it's available, but this is coming to other regions. It may even be out in America at the moment. I'm not 100% sure on that. I know for Europe this one is coming down the line, so it's up to yourself. You can either get it from Japan now or you can wait for the European version. Dave the Diver kind of combines two different types of gameplay. You've got that underwater diving, kind of what I would call in traditional sense the dungeon crawling element of the game, where you're going and you're getting your fish and stuff during the day, and then in the other side of the game you're kind of doing restaurant sim and running stuff on the top of things, so it's interesting balance between the two. Again, as with a lot of recent indie games, got a really cool art style. It's fun, whimsical. Dave the Diver's a really cool game. Check it out. Tomb Raider 1 to 3 Remastered is one I was really hoping would get a physical release. I held off on the digital because I thought a physical had to be coming at some point down the line, and now we've got it announced. In America, I think the only way to get this is going to be through limited run games. Thankfully, for Europeans, you can get the standard edition and a deluxe edition over here without having to import them from the US. However, the top deluxe edition, I think that comes with a whole load of different things, figures of Lara Croft and replicas of the guns from the game. That one is going to be limited run only, so if you want that top edition, you're going to have to import it, and I think that might be worth a good bit of money down the line. Myself though, I'm going to pick up the deluxe edition that's coming to Europe, and I can't wait to go back to my PlayStation 1 days and try out these games. I haven't played the first Tomb Raider since playing it on PS1, so I'm looking forward to the release of this one. Next up, we have The Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero. So these Trails games, they are ones that are probably always going to attract some kind of value in the market down the line, because they come from a long kind of series of games, and we know these style of games, the RPG type of games, they tend to be the ones that hold their value the best across all consoles, never mind the Switch. So I do think this is one, if you're interested in it, to try and pick up. I really like the art style for this one. In its cutscenes, it's got kind of like a cel shaded type of kind of anime art style. It looks really nice, and then when they're walking around on the overworld, it just screams those PlayStation 1 Final Fantasy kind of days for me, only it's all been brought up and modernized. It looks absolutely fantastic. The battle mechanics look really cool, and the style during the battles look amazing. Some of the effects and stuff that you can see during the battles, it looks really great. So I haven't picked this one up personally yet, but I do have it on my list to pick up, and I think it could hold its value a good bit down the line. So definitely, if you're interested in this series, or if you check out this trailer and you think it looks like something you would like, give it a look. Undertale. What can I really say about Undertale that hasn't already been said? This is one of those beloved indie darling games that just really took over the scene, and everyone seems to have good words to say about this one, and really it's worth just picking up for that alone. It's a great game to have in your collection, and just given the kind of cult status of this game, I think down the line the physical version could get more and more and more expensive, and that's what these videos are really all about. It's about you not getting caught in the trap of having to pay ridiculous prices on eBay down the line. And I do think Undertale is one that's worth picking up now, because once this console generation comes to an end, I would say the prices eventually are going to go up. You may get a bit of a dip in prices once the new console comes out, but after a year or two of the new console being available, you always see that the previous generation's games start to rise and start to become more expensive. If you're a fan of Undertale, it may be worth picking this one up now. Cadence of Hyrule, Crypt of the Necrodancer. This one is great for several reasons. One, it's really unique, strange, cool, rhythm-based gameplay. If you're a fan of Crypt of the Necrodancer and Zelda, it just makes perfect sense to get this. But the other reason it's great is this one is relatively cheap at the moment. I picked it up for a really good price when it came out even. It was never really super expensive. The fact that this is tied in with the Legend of Zelda series, I don't think it's sold particularly well, and it has a physical. I can see this being one that collectors will want to get down the line, but it'll be much harder to track down compared to millions and millions of sales with Breath of the Wild, etc. This is probably going to be the rarest Legend of Zelda game on Nintendo Switch, because it simply has the least copies out of all of them. As I said, it's a really good price at the moment. Try and pick it up, because in time I do think this one is going to go high. And finally, ending it off with another physical item that's not a game that you should try and add to your collection, and it's another controller. I've talked about a few different controllers that are cool to pick up over this series of videos. This one is one of the most unique and strange controllers you can get, and it is for Pokemon Let's Go, and it's the Pokeball controller. The whole idea behind this was so that you could play Let's Go and play it one-handed to make it as simple and as accessible as you possibly could. So the little clip in the middle of the Pokeball is actually your movement stick, and then it does a lot of motion control, so you kind of swoosh it forwards to throw out your Pokeball and catch, and you can click down the stick to interact with things in the game as well. It's a really unique, really strange controller. It's actually a bit smaller in your hand than you would expect in real life. I got this one in a collector's edition with Let's Go when it came out, but I do think Pokemon being Pokemon, it means this will become collectible in time. We've seen how much some of the Pokemon accessories go for in years to come, Pokewalker, along with a complete copy of the game, and I think this is one that will be exactly the same in a few years. Now is probably the best time to pick this up and make sure it's in a half decent condition, and even if it doesn't get super rare in the future or really expensive, you've got yourself a cool collectible that you can have as part of your video game physical collection. I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.